多了。多了。Jean-Jacques tua. Kasata kepada. Anyone here know what I just said? Do you speak Hmong? Did you feel welcome? Or maybe a little uncomfortable? Well, imagine you're a Hmong mom bringing your toddler to check out a preschool, and you can't understand a word I'm saying. And that's the experience of so many new immigrants when they try to get help for their children. But when parents come to the family partnership, we have staff who can welcome them in 12 different languages. So in my native tongue, welcome to all of you, and thank you for coming today. I'm Molly Greenman, President and CEO of the Family Partnership. And whether you've been here before or are here for the first time, you're going to learn more about the work we do, the lives we change, and about how together we can make sure all children, regardless of income or origins, reach their full potential. 100 years ago, the Family Partnership advocated for kids who are being abused and families struggling to make ends meet. We still do that. Our mission remains building strong families, vital communities, and better futures for children. Last year, in 14 different programs, we helped over 17,000 people. Pretty impressive. But the truth is that there are over 680,000 people in the metro area living in or on the edge of poverty. Over 200,000 of them are children. Clearly, we have more work to do. Our work is not done. But one thing that is done is our successful merger. It took us 10 years to find the right partner. Family and Children's Service dated many suitors, but found the perfect match with Reuben Lind Family Services. And together, we are the Family Partnership. And our new and improved organization has over 100 diverse staff and 1,000 volunteers, all of them dedicated to helping children and families through counseling, education, and advocacy. Let's start with counseling. Our therapists help people with anxiety, depression, and family problems. But in recent years, we've been helping more and more children and families heal from violence and trauma. Like Eduardo and his family. They came to Minnesota from Mexico in search of the American dream. But for 6-year-old Eduardo, it turned into a nightmare. His family lived in a gang-ridden neighborhood in South Minneapolis, and his parents each worked 2 jobs, so Eduardo was left alone, a lot. He was afraid walking to his school bus stop, and when he got to school, kids made fun of his accent and the color of his skin. When he was 11, while waiting for his dad in their truck, Eduardo got caught in the middle of a gang shootout. Bullets exploded and shattered the windshield. Eduardo thought he was going to die. 3 years later, a gang member shoved a gun in his stomach while another held a knife at his neck. But again, Eduardo survived. But he was left severely traumatized, and when it got so he couldn't even leave the house, his parents sought counseling at the Family Partnership. Cindy, one of our therapists, helped him heal from the trauma. And today, I'm proud to tell you that Eduardo is a senior in high school, president of the National Honor Society, and has a bright future ahead of him. But see, yes. But take a look for yourself.
Good evening. My name is Eduardo Sanchez, and I'm president of the National Honor Society, and I want to tell the students not.
Wow. Eduardo wanted to be here today, but he was not able to come because he's taking his international baccalaureate exams. 4,000 people a year turn to us for counseling, and for every dollar it costs us to provide services, only 85 cents is covered by insurance or other funding. This means we must raise $225,000 so our counseling services are here for kids like Eduardo. Education is the second important area of our work. We help young children living in poverty to be ready for kindergarten and then succeed in school and graduate. You've already met some of our preschoolers, the cutest kids in the world, and in a bit, you'll hear from one of our staff who works with middle school kids. But I need to tell you about the challenge we face in all of our education programs, especially our therapeutic preschools, where we provide occupational, speech, physical, and music therapy for children with developmental delays due to poverty and trauma. Funding for these critical services only covers 65% of the cost, and we receive no government revenue for them, so we must raise an additional $250,000 if we're to give these 3- and 4-year-olds the extra boost they so desperately need. Advocacy is the third area of our work, which makes us unique and for which we're known nationally. Thanks to our leadership last year, Minnesota passed landmark legislation to protect children who are forced into prostitution. Our success means young girls will now get protection instead of jail time. Girls like 13-year-old Sarah, who was taken away from her home on the White Earth Reservation, brought to Duluth, and sold to sailors on board a ship in port. It's called sex trafficking, and it's happening right here in the Twin Cities, too. We changed the law, but that's not enough. Now we need services to support young girls like Sarah. Services like our Pride program, which has helped thousands of girls and women escape prostitution since 1978. Currently, we have funding to help only about 150 Sarahs, and on any given night, there are over 1,500 Twin Cities girls and women being sold on Twin Cities streets and over the internet. But I have good news to share too. Because of our innovation, leadership, and quality programs, we were named National Agency of the Year by the Alliance for Children and Families. Yes. We are really, really proud of that. And we'll use the visibility it brings to shine the light on the 200,000 children living in poverty who can't wait any longer to have a better future. And that's why today we are making this a May Day distress call. Yes, we get support from many sources, United Way, foundations, government, and of course people like you. But as you heard, there's still a gap. This collective gap in 2012 is $1.2 million. Yep, that's $1.2 million. The truth is, we have a funding gap every year, and most years we eliminate it by the end of the year. So far, we've raised about $250,000, but it's getting harder to close this gap at the same time as the needs of families keep growing. This gap and the thought of having to turn even one child like Sarah away is what keeps me awake at night. If we don't close the gap, we will close programs, and families will suffer. I got into social work over 30 years ago for many, many reasons. Of those, raising money wasn't even on my radar screen. But here I am today, talking about costs of programs and funding gaps because I am committed to helping children and families move out of poverty. I do it so we can say yes to every Hmong mom whose child needs a little extra help to get ready for kindergarten. So we can say yes to every Eduardo and yes to every Sarah. So we can say yes, we are here for you. You can have a better future. There are 200,000 children out there waiting for us to say yes. So there's no time like now to answer Denise's Mayday call and join us in closing the gap. Thank you for being here today to make an investment in better futures for all children. As we say in Hmong, wa chao. Thank you.